Nobody's listening, right? Hi, Andy.
Hello.
Is anybody listening?
They are. This one, 5 stars. Love it. Elizabeth and Andy are so real. Oh, what does that mean? I feel like I'm sitting around listening to my friends have funny conversations. Back in 2011, I found Totally Married under the top comedy podcasts on iTunes.
Oh. Back when the glory days, when we were up there.
I started listening while I was in grad school and doing my monotonous lab work. I moved to Singapore after grad school, and listening meant so much to me when I couldn't call family, which was most of the time due to the time difference. And I didn't know many new people yet. It made me feel like I had friends around. When I was pregnant with my first kid, I listened to Totally Mommy. At that point, I had just moved back to the States to a new city and didn't know many people with kids, so it was really nice to hear what other moms were going through. I was so sad when the shows ended, but was so excited when it came back as Nobody's Listening, right? I now have a more bustling social life, but still feel like I'm surrounded by old friends by listening on my drive to work. If a new episode pops up on my feed, it's the first thing I listen to.
Oh, that's so nice. Thank you. So that was the OG. That was the one listener we had in Singapore, I think, at that time.
Wow.
Thank you so much. That's such a kind review. And I do love hearing from I love hearing from newbies, and I love hearing from OGs.
Yeah.
It's so great. And it is incredible to think back of how this has spanned, so much time.
Yeah.
And we had a babysitter last night who we haven't seen in probably 8 years.
Yeah.
It's a funny thing with babysitters. I feel like you start to do real deep cuts when, your regular go-tos aren't going to work out. So this is a sitter. I went back 8 years to get this sitter, but it was really cool seeing her and what she's up to now. Yeah. And also she said that when she was working for us, I was like desperately trying to get writing stuff going. So that was kind of cool to hear. It's nice to reflect back on those things and be like, oh, that's, you have a lot to be grateful for.
Yeah. Yeah. She mentioned something like someone I was working with that I gave a CD to them. Like that. This was back in CD ages.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I think it was really cool for her. She was Teddy's babysitter.
Yeah.
Now got to meet Otis, and seeing Teddy grown up into as she said, a preteen, which I think we do feel kind of on the precipice of
Pre-tween. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, really great stuff. OGs.
All right. So top of mind for me is I think I saw The Perfect Crime at the grocery store recently.
Now, are you just sitting around the grocery store?
It's my favorite place to be.
I know, but are you just watching people now?
I was struck. This is what's interesting about this story is because the guy that I saw do The Perfect Crime was not inconspicuous at all. And he was quite striking that I noticed him early in my shopping.
Oh.
It was an older man.
Okay.
Wearing do you know the Freddy Krueger sweater? It's like big, thick stripes.
Yes.
It was like the Freddy Krueger
like
sweater.
Red?
Yeah, I think, like maroon and something. But this might have been like green and tan or something. But it was very...
So it's more Freddy Krueger and less Abercrombie rugby shirt.
Well, it was a sweater. So it wasn't,
a sweater.
Yeah, okay. It was a sweater. But the Freddy Krueger sweater predates Abercrombie, but Abercrombie could sell something that looks just like the Freddy Krueger sweater. Okay. It's not a scary looking sweater.
Okay.
For those that know this sweater, they know what I'm talking about. Anyways, the guy, he was probably like 65, white hair. The sweater looked nice. He looked really well put together, but just like a cool little dude that I think caught my eye because I was like, I want to look like that cool old dude.
Oh, that's nice.
Right? And his stock shot way up for me. Okay.
After this crime?
So I see him, right? I noticed this guy.
He became a criminal and his stock rose?
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. And I think I'm going to become a criminal now.
No.
Yeah, just wait. I think so.
Okay.
So then I see
Criminally handsome.
So then I see him a little bit later in the bakery bread section, and I see him go over to the donut
Case.
the donut case. Now, I have a really complicated relationship with the donut case because I love donuts
Yes.
maybe more than anyone in this world.
I don't think you get to claim that, but you love them. Let's be factual.
I love donuts.
I know you do.
But maybe not enough that I'm getting them when I go to the grocery stores because I get a little creeped out by everyone touching the donuts.
It's kind of a buffet. It's a help yourself situation.
Yeah, and even pre-COVID, I had a hard time with it. I would do it sometimes because I just had to get that donut, but it does skeeze me out.
Can I pause you for a second?
Yeah.
Is that the only deterrent, or no offense to grocery store chains across the nation, but their donuts aren't that good. I mean, as a donut lover,
yeah,
I would expect you, as someone who eats so much cookie dough ice cream, you can tell the difference in batches of Ben & Jerry's.
Yeah.
The quality and taste of donuts swing wildly.
Of
you
course.
got your Krispy Kreme,
Yeah.
you got your Daily Donut, you got, Donut Friend here in Los Angeles. Grocery store ones never hit right.
Well, it depends on the grocery store. When I'm in Idaho, the Albertsons up there, their maple bars there's something very special about them.
They also have really good flan.
Sure. Yes. Yeah. So I think it depends on grocery store. Our local, the maple bars hit a certain way, which is okay. Enough that I would always eat one if one was offered to me. Okay. But yes, you make a great point. We have many better donut establishments nearby for that matter.
Yeah. There's something,
more processed about them,
there's
sort of?
a processed ingredient in their donuts, and I think, unfortunately, many of their baked goods, that leaves like a waxy feeling in my mouth.
I think I know what you mean.
Yeah. Okay.
That's not deterring me at all, though. It's only the germs.
Okay.
Okay. It's only the buffet
The
of it all.
germs is you don't even get to that point.
Yeah.
That's what's that called? Where it's a no-go, it's a deal breaker.
Yes.
Okay.
Anyways, see him out of the corner of my eye. I'm doing some bread stuff. I go over to the hot counter. Anyways, then I look and catch him again. And he's fucking shopping and eating the donut. Respect through the roof.
Wow.
It takes a confidence.
Now, yeah, you know what? You can get away with a lot when it's in plain sight and you have the confidence of I'm doing nothing. Now, I have a question.
Yeah.
Did you track him to pay out?
Well, yeah. I'm
Because he could
getting
have
there.
a sticker or something.
I'm very invested in that. So, but let's just talk about the man for a minute.
Please.
He already
the man,
caught
the
my
myth,
eye
the
because of
legend.
his striking look and dapper wear.
Yeah.
And me wanting to be like, if I'm looking like that 20 years from now, great. Then I find out he wants a donut right now. And you know what? He's going to eat it right now.
Yes, he is.
Now I'm more enamored with this guy and I want to be him.
What's his posture like and his gait?
Good gait. You would be thrilled.
Thrilled.
You would be thrilled with all of it. Okay. So I want to know did he just get the one donut to eat while he shops? Because that's pretty fucking cool. Or did he get a few donuts?
A little shopping treat.
That he's then, when he gets to the aisle, is going to say, hey, here's 6. I actually had 7, right?
Right.
I did not see any other donuts.
No bag?
No, I didn't. And then I got to see him go to the self-checkout lane.
What kind of donut?
I couldn't tell. It was a round situation, though.
Okay.
I then caught him at self-checkout, but I wasn't going to self-checkout. I had more groceries than that. And I eyeballed his whole cart and situation and didn't see any bags or anything.
And he was doing self-checkout.
Yes.
Another notable moment.
And donut is finished by this time.
Oh, sure.
So
you're only getting to the frozen foods aisle with that donut, I feel like.
So here we are. It's either one of two things happened. He either paid for it.
How?
He knows the code. Maybe he does this all the time. Pretty easy at self-checkout to do that, I think. You type in donut and it would come up, I think.
Yeah.
Or fucking perfect crime. He just fucking...
It is
no
now.
one knows.
Here's what I will say.
Yeah. And I respect both. I just want to say that. I love if he paid for it or didn't pay for it. I'm not judging him. Respect.
Now, all of us can't go around starting to do that and ripping off grocery stores, obviously. But so you adopting that practice is not okay. I think that you have to have white hair to pull it off. If you have white hair, you've earned a certain kind of level of life where no store manager is going to come up to you and go, sir, you're going to have to pay for that thing that cost us, a nickel to create. And he knows that.
But the perfect crime of it is that when you get caught, it's, oh, I'm so sorry, I forgot to enter it. That's why it's perfect, right?
And you'd only get caught after not paying. Because anytime before paying, you can go, oh, yeah, I know, I'm going to enter it in.
Exactly. Right? So there's no, and here's what's the extra bonus of it all that we're not even factoring in.
Yeah.
This is why it's cool if he stole it.
Please tell us.
Because if he stole it, I'm hoping he did get some adrenaline and jolt from that entire experience. Like, is he in the thrill of it, right?
Yes. This is what I really do love this in a sense because I'm like, if I don't enjoy grocery shopping the way you do.
Yeah.
That sort of thing and thrill and the sweet treat would get me through that in a way that would take it from a 2 experience to an 8.5. Like,
yeah, if I learned that you had a small shoplifting problem, meaning you just grazed a donut every time you went to the store.
I can't. You have to have your AARP card or whatever it is.
I'm telling you right now, if I learned this now, that it was like it was either a donut or like a piece of candy from the like bulk candy, it would be a real turn on for me if I found that out, that this was a secret from you. Now, if I found out you had a shoplifting problem, that's a problem. I don't like that.
I have stolen something recently.
On purpose?
No, accidentally.
No,
but
this doesn't turn me on at all.
I realized it. Oh, I know what it was.
Okay.
This is when we went to get our vaccines. And I was with a child who was really nervous and I wanted to get in and out. And it ended up being a bit of a nightmare. And
You're already making big excuses. I think I'm putting a dollar amount of over $5 on this. Go on.
Okay. So we are at an establishment that has, pharmacy and other goods scattered about. The whole vaccine thing was it was so much rigmarole. We ended up, even with our appointment, having to wait for an hour. Now I did make the appointment at a different one of their stores by accident. Anyway,
you sound like the old person right now, and rigmarole and.
No, while we were there, I had Otis go and grab a few boxes of tissue, nose tissue.
Yeah, like the square boxes.
Cube boxes.
The square ones, not the rectangle ones.
Yes. And so then we got a few Halloween-y things, whatever. And while we were waiting so long, I said, let's go pay for these and then we'll come back. And so morally, I did fuck up a little bit because we were then in the store for a little bit after I realized that I had stolen it. I had an opportunity to go and say, hey, I ended up not paying for this. But what happened was we went to self-checkout. And at this particular store, possibly chain, it's very sensitive to whatever you scan, you have to put on the scale. Yeah. And somehow it basically, I had a can of something or something that I was mine, or like my Tervis tumbler or something that I put down on the scale, and I scanned the one of the tissue paper things. I had scanned everything else and put it in a bag. Okay. And when I scanned the other one, it I don't know how this works exactly, but basically the scale was telling the system I had already bought this thing and put it down. When I then looked at the receipt and I was only charged for one, like it rejected my scanning of the second box of tissue paper because I had fooled the scale somehow.
Okay.
And it must have been that I scanned the second box. I put my drink down. It took that to mean it was the tissue box.
Okay.
And so I put it in the bag, but it was kind of weird how it worked. And then I noticed that. And then we went back to get our shots. And I was like, oh, I didn't pay for that. And I kind of got a little thrill out of it. And I thought about what to do. And I was like, you know what? Honestly, we've been, this is how I justified it.
Jesus Christ.
I didn't tell our kid about it or anything. He fully thought I paid for everything, as did anyone. And if anyone called me out for it, I would be like,
I don't know. This is,
I would be like, rewind the tapes. It wasn't letting me. I tried to pay for it. It didn't let me.
Yeah.
And also, I felt like I had been inconvenienced pretty hardcore for this shot in a way that
Oh my God.
Now, how come you're saying you would be turned on if it were
so different? Number one, how you just told the story. I have a feeling that, like, if you were in an interrogation room, I could break you. I think there's holes in this, and I think you're lying about something.
I can be broken anyway.
Now, so just so I'm making sure I have my facts right, you went through this whole bullshit story of what you're telling me at the self-checkout. Then you gathered those goods and you went back to wait for the vaccine. Is that correct?
The goods were in a bag.
And they're in a bag. So you'd put the one that you hadn't paid for in the bag.
Yes.
And then you're sitting, waiting for the vaccine in the store. Okay. Mm-hmm. For how long?
Another 12 minutes.
And of that time, how much of that time did you know you hadn't paid for the Kleenex?
The whole time.
Okay. It just seems like such an easy thing to fix, whereas...
can I be honest?
It seems like you were justifying not paying for it.
I was, and I was annoyed, and I felt like I gave it the good old college try to pay for it. Mm-hmm. It's not my fault that the system is flawed deeply.
But this is what's unattractive. What's attractive is if the guy just steals a donut because he wants a donut and he's stealing it. He's not coming up with all these bullshit. I had to wait for this and that and this, and it only cost them this. No, you're stealing it for the thrill of a donut.
I wasn't.
Where you you're making up all these new rules.
Hang on, Andy. You're telling me that if my intention was I'm setting out to steal something, then it's okay. But if I wasn't and I just didn't fix the stealing after it accidentally happened, it's not okay.
Close. It's if I found out that when you go to the grocery store, you steal like a 50-cent donut or a piece of candy from the bulk bin. I'm using those are my two exceptions. If I found out that you did that and you also did it for the charge of it, there is something attractive of this. Where what you did and all the justification, I find very off-putting.
Can I tell you something I did yesterday? And I would not bring this up except for here, and I feel like I have to. Mm-hmm. I did a big shop at Trader Joe's. Big. Huge. And while I was getting checked out, there was this kind-looking pretty old man, kind of...
Let me pause you right now.
Shuffling around.
Let me pause you right now.
Okay.
Is this just some annoying, you did such a nice thing, retribution situation?
Yes.
Ugh. Not attractive either. Okay. Okay? The gesture on its own... And you told it without this context, maybe a really sweet thing that you did. What you're doing now, deplorable.
Okay.
Continue, though.
Sorry. Oh, God. I hate the sounds coming out of my mouth right now. Okay. Trader Joe's, I'm getting checked out. Mm-hmm. Love the people at Trader Joe's. I found out my checkout person has worked there for 21 years.
Okay.
Not just that store. Anyway, this older man, is kind of shuffling around and looks a little bit confused about the line situation. Is it a one-line thing feeding into, we don't know. And I saw him, and all he had in his hand was 5 bananas. And so I said, "Excuse me, is that all you have?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Let me take care of it."
Oh.
And so we checked it out, and then he goes, "Well, how much money?" And I was like, "No." And the checkout guy was like, "You're all good, man." And went on his way.
So, okay, I thought for a minute I was getting really angry that you just let him go in front of you in the line.
Oh, no.
I was like, that everybody does that all the time. So, were you mid-checkout, like scanning, and then you're like, "Hey, just throw this on, I'll cut that."
Exactly.
That's a nice gesture.
Okay, thank you.
Really wish you didn't have to tell it.
No, I
in
know.
This
I feel
context.
so gross. I don't like telling those gestures because I actually think it cancels out the good deed.
Oh, without a doubt it does. And in this case, it's like exponentially bad because why you brought it up. Even you just telling it would have canceled out the deed. This is way worse.
Oh my God.
Your karma's like real bad. What's interesting is, and I can't remember what it was. I might have even said this on the show that like, I did have something maybe within the last year of leaving a grocery store and realizing when I got out, and there is this guilt feeling that you have.
Sometimes it's on the bottom shelf.
Yeah,
exactly. You don't get to
on
it.
The cart, or exactly. But it's like, at what point away from the store are you going back? And I made the choice to like, I'm just going home, and I really did feel real guilt about it.
Weighed on you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
since we're talking about food and food stuff, I wanted to bring up a sensitive topic for me, which is the other night we had our wonderful friends, Jesse and Rob, over. I felt like this night was such a success.
Yeah.
Now, they are neighborhood friends. We love them. We see them out and about, walking around.
Of course, yeah.
But this has been a long time coming. Like, come over for drinks, you know. And so we finally made it happen. And I was very excited to, like, have what French people call an apéro, which is, you're so annoyed. I feel like I became, at this podcast episode, my stock has dropped. Like,
Yeah, that's okay, though. Hey, we know there's a balance in this, you know. I dip in your eyes sometimes, you dip in mine.
Sure.
We redeem ourselves in ways that aren't gross, you know, and calculated in genuine ways. We're all good here.
Okay. So I made a little spread, which I was very excited about, and I think that they really enjoyed, which was I made this from Smitten Kitchen's cookbook/website, this feta, tomato, and chickpea bake.
Yeah, I love it.
With like butter grilled toasts.
Okay.
So you kind of scoop it all up. It's very scoopy.
Nice.
Then some olives, some almonds out, some rosemary almonds, and then...
Did anybody hit those almonds?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I did. I don't know if anyone else did. Then I made a spinach artichoke dip. A recipe my friend Alexis, I already mentioned her, who loves to cook, made for us up at the cabin.
Yeah.
And with some strong, sturdy tortilla chips. Ooh, it's so good.
Okay.
And so I made that, and we all enjoyed it. We had some drinks, and it was really fun.
Super fun. What's Aperol of it all, were you saying?
Apéro.
Oh, okay.
Apéro.
Okay.
Not Aperol. Apéro is like kind of a happy hour, usually with wine or cocktails, spritzes even, with like snacky foods that basically counts for dinner.
Oh, okay, cool. That qualifies then, for sure.
So, had a great time. Then afterwards, or maybe the next day, I asked you, because I know you love the feta thing.
I love it. And I don't really like feta, but yeah.
I hadn't gotten any feedback on the artichoke spinach dip, and you were like, when we go to Houston's, you were all about that artichoke dip.
I almost ruin every meal I have there because I hit it too hard as an appetizer.
And so it felt like there was a hole, it was like your silence was deafening.
Yeah.
And so I had to come to you and say, what did you think?
Mm-hmm.
And you said, if I'm being honest, which I always know means like brace yourself.
Too much lemon.
Too much lemon.
Yeah.
So since then, this was a week ago, you, in what feels kind of like a pointed thing,
Mm-hmm.
you brought home a spinach artichoke dip from our grocery store.
Target.
Oh, from Target.
Target brand.
Good and Gather.
Yeah, which you support now.
I don't support now. I said in the episode, I have never considered it a generic brand. I think they're above and beyond. But you brought that back. Now, it looks all white, which means it's probably mostly mayo and I don't know. Not my thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's sitting there, and it kind of felt like a little kick in the butt. Like, oh, you kind of gave me some artichoke dip, the one that you made all good and homemade. But now I need to scratch that itch with good stuff. And so I'm going to buy this thing from Target. Okay, that stung.
Okay.
Then you ask me when I'm going to Trader Joe's, and you kind of ask me when I'm flying out the door. So I don't even have time to process this.
Yeah.
Will you get their kale? Yogurt artichoke dip? And I'm like, yes, of course, and I go and I'm like breezing through Target and the banana thing happens, whatever. And I get home. And as I'm putting the groceries away, I'm going to put that tub of dip in the fridge. And I see the Good and Gather tub sitting there. You now have about 16 ounces of store-made artichoke dip in the fridge waiting for you.
Yeah.
And it feels a little mean-spirited.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Because, okay, this is a bigger thing. I take a lot. I'm not a good cook, we've established, but I have a few things I can kind of get behind.
Yeah.
We've, my nachos, whatever. It feels very good to me. And this sounds a little like 1950s housewife, but when I serve you or the kids really good food that you enjoy, which is so rare because you're all so critical.
Which, well, I want to circle back to that, okay? Okay. Because you're not innocent in that equation at all. Okay?
I know. I'm not innocent. I'm not. We're all kind of critical. I'm a double Virgo. It's kind of any criticism I'm doling out, I'm giving myself twofold. So I take a lot of joy in that particular thing. I was like, Andy is going to fucking flip over this. So it was loaded. I guess my expectations were kind of high. And then when you said too much lemon, it was like, oh, okay, well, that was a swing and a miss.
Yeah.
But then for you to go buy 2 tubs of store-bought dip, this isn't something this is something you maybe buy once a year. And now, coincidentally, 2 tubs of it are in our fridge.
Yeah.
Feels a little pointed.
But why does it feel pointed? I'm going to respond to all of this, but I want to know more about your feelings first. Why does it feel pointed?
Do you not get it?
No, I think I get it, but
Okay.
I want to know how it's making you feel. You're saying it feels pointed.
It's so dumb because I'm taking it a little personally. But do you remember we knew someone whose mom had a degenerative disease where she was... I'm not laughing at this. It's horrible. She was losing her eyesight. And at the same time, can I not mention this?
No, I think you can.
Her dad, they were still married, developed this obsession with 3D art.
It was like, what are those 3D viewer things that you'd have as a kid?
Oh,
it was like
Instamatic things or whatever.
The red ones. Yeah. People know what we're talking about, but it was like it was like the history of those predating those. Like he loved collecting the things that like predated those. So like, yeah, but that kind of stuff. things
it's like
that you
he
needed.
was leaning really hard into this thing that she was losing in a way that feels a little like not thoughtful.
But so how are you connecting that with this?
Well, I just made this thing. I was so excited and I wanted it to be good. And I really, really enjoy it when you like something I made. It makes me feel like I'm nourishing you and giving you something.
Yeah, that's sweet.
And you didn't really like it that much. And then kind of to be like, I'm going to now scratch that itch with these like crappy kind of store-bought.
So it was more that you felt that you failed, and I was saying that by saying, you didn't do this right. I'm going to buy the Target one because that'll satisfy the itch that you didn't satisfy for me.
And
is that
two of them.
Well, let me tell you how things shook out from my side of the table. Okay. You made that thing. It was good. Too much lemon for my taste. Okay. If you want to circle back to that, we can. But let's put that aside for a minute. Okay. I do also think you had the problem that other dish, the feta dish, really outshined the artichoke dip anyways to me. So maybe the artichoke dip didn't get the stage that we should have given it for. Okay. Right. But I just thought I had a little too much lemon. That was a Sunday night. Okay. Okay. That was a Sunday night.
Okay.
The next night, Monday, I had a French class. I went to French class and we're getting started in French class. And then one of the students was like, hey, is it okay? It's my birthday if we have a little wine. Remember how I had mentioned that to you before to the teacher? And the teacher was like, oh, did you remember say that? And she was like, yeah, a couple weeks ago. And the teacher was like, yeah, of course it's great. And then right when the teacher says, of course it's great, this student pulls out 2 bottles of wine, hummus dip, the Trader Joe's kale artichoke dip, and all this stuff. So I'm sitting there in class being like, well, this is an exciting turn of events. And then also like, oh my gosh, and is this spinach artichoke dip? It says kale. That's odd. But I just had that last night. So I was excited that all this was happening, and I had to try it because I was just curious.
Yeah, it's there in front of you.
I like spinach artichoke dope. I had it last night. Would I like this store-bought from Trader Joe's? Probably not. It has kale in it. I don't really like kale, but guess what? I enjoyed it. So to me, that was just exciting turn of events. Then the next day I was at Target and I saw spinach artichoke dip in a thing. And I thought, hey, I like that kale dip that I didn't think I would like. I'm in a spinach artichoke like zone right now. Why don't I get this? Then the next day you went to Trader Joe's and I was like, now I got to get that other kind so I can try both of them.
Oh, you're going to have a shootout.
So this wasn't as loaded as you felt. If anything, you just were a victim of the circumstance where you made a delicious dip that had a little too much lemon. And then the next day, it was someone's birthday in my French class, and they happened to bring this other thing. So it all converged into this thing.
Okay.
So I don't think it's as pointed as your little ego thinks it is.
Okay.
Does that make sense, though?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Great.
But here... Yeah.
Would you want me to make that dip again?
Yeah. Just maybe with a little less lemon, maybe?
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to know something that I think you're going to be surprised by?
Okay.
There was 0 lemon juice in that. It was just some lemon... What's that called?
Rind. Skip the rind, maybe.
Okay. I like it a little lemony, but I can do half.
I'd prefer if you just skipped it.
Okay.
Do you feel a little better about it, though?
Yeah. Thank you. All right.
Great.
So we have fun, you know? Even this little thing that, you know.
Are those tears in your eyes right now? A little bit. Why are your eyes watering right now?
Well, I want to get to, I feel very, very grateful. Are your eyes watering? Those are called mirror receptors.
Whoa. You're going to cry right now, I can tell.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Well, we went to an amazing wedding last night.
Oh my God, thank God. I thought we were still, there was something about the dip that was going to make you cry. Yeah, we really did.
This is the wedding that I went 8 years deep into babysitters
Right.
for because it was a non-negotiable thing that obviously we were going.
Yes.
You were asked to sign the Ketubah, which is a
Yes.
Jewish ceremony.
What an honor. That was incredible.
Incredible. And it was a gay wedding of our like family members. Now I'm going to say because Maddie, who we have loved for a decade,
Yeah.
found her life partner in Sarah, and we love Sarah so much.
Yes.
And I was just thinking, there's a lot of heaviness right now in the world, and I think we all have very heavy hearts about all of the suffering happening, and I really feel like, I don't know, going to such a joyous event reset me in a way that is really meaningful. And I also love, unfortunately, like the wedding I went to in England, which was so amazing.
Yeah.
We've been to a lot of incredible weddings this year.
Yeah.
But you couldn't come with me to England. Yeah. Being at a wedding with you, and in this wedding in particular, because the stakes feel a little bit higher because it's two women marrying each other, and that's a rite that feels precarious right now. And they're also both songwriters and wordsmiths, and their vows to each other were so unbelievable.
Maybe the favorite I've ever seen. That was so amazing.
Unbelievably descriptive and thoughtful and beautiful. It really...
And like big in a way that like they could have like, if it was a third of the length for each of them, I would have been like, those were the best vows. And then like they kept going with amazing stuff. I was like, holy shit. Like it was incredible.
It was incredible. Yeah. And it like got deeper and deeper and better and better.
Amazing.
And I actually felt bad for Sarah because Maddie went first and her vows were so unbelievably moving that I was like, if I were Sarah right now, I'd be like, fuck.
Oh, yeah.
But then Sarah brought it. I mean, it was so amazing. And I loved part of the Ketubah ceremony is people giving advice to the, like, marriage advice and to the couple, which I think is such an incredible, it should be part of every marriage ceremony. And I was very honored to be asked to give them a little advice. But it really reminded me of what we have. And I think that is kind of the point, not the point of weddings, obviously, but it's something that I get from going to weddings that I didn't even realize before getting married, that I think anytime someone who is married or partnered goes to a wedding, it kind of grounds you again in your vows to each other.
Yeah. The best weddings do that. The best ones, you want to look at your partner during it and be like, hey, we're married, like,
yes.
And I feel like that we had a bunch of those moments yesterday, which is always the
and
best.
It made me just feel the tears are coming from just gratitude. I mean, how truly lucky I am. And just, there was something going on recently with one of our kids, and there was like jealousy happening with a friend or something. And I didn't say this to them, but I was thinking like in other times when I've been jealous of someone for like their career or their whatever, after meeting you, if I ever asked myself, would I want to change lives with them? The answer is 100% no.
That's
I have the best life in the world. I'm like so lucky with you and the kids. And that really, I feel like when everything feels like shit in the world and you're kind of, I mean, sometimes I feel guilty putting the kids to bed at night these days because I know that there are mothers in Gaza and in Israel who don't feel safe putting their kids to sleep at night and or don't have their children to put to sleep at night. And I think that is important in some sense, that you're bearing witness to what's happening and can lend your voice to what's happening. But also, I think a different form of that feeling is just gratitude for what you have, and trying to raise kind humans
Yeah.
who will join you in doing the right thing, spreading kindness, all of that stuff.
Yeah, I totally agree. I loved at that wedding too. You got all of that stuff, and I always find it was no surprise to me at this wedding that there were so many family members kind of in the orbit that had such good advice and seemed just so kind and sweet. And the kind of people that you're like, oh, I want to hear what they have to say.
Yes.
That have, these people that have been married for 40, 50 years or whatnot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I also love when that happens at weddings. And it was no surprise at all knowing Maddie and Sarah, right?
Right.
But yeah, I felt very charged up last night and being there with you and so grateful. And
did it make you think, because Maddie and Sarah are younger.
Yeah.
They're whippersnappers.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of adopted Maddie into our family as like a younger sister, I would say.
Sure, I could see that, yeah.
But, we were bridging the age gap. Like,
yeah,
it was their parents' generation who their kids are in their 20s, 30s. Then their generation, or us in the middle, and then their generation.
Yeah, totally.
Last night was one of the first weddings I was looking at so much through the lens of being a parent.
Yeah.
And I think it partially, I do feel protective and parental of Maddie. So maybe that was part of it. But like, it was really interesting. And I really am like, if our kids can grow up to be like these people.
Yes.
And if we get this experience of celebrating a union for them and feeling like they're going on into the world with this love and support, I will feel just so overwhelmed with happiness.
I think I said this last night to you, or maybe I didn't, but I definitely had the thought of like, just it got me excited about our kids getting married and how amazing you'll be at talking at their wedding.
Oh, that's nice.
And
if
then,
they do, again, it's like,
oh yeah, totally.
Obviously, it's not the traditional thing of anymore of like, you have to get married. They could have very fulfilled lives without this, but this is just specifically looking at this whole thing.
And just being in that moment. I also, talking about the generation gap, it was funny that, do you remember we were sitting on that couch and then like the cousins descended on our area and they were all like, I would say high schoolers, right? And I had that moment where I was like, oh, our kids are going to be this in like any second. We're almost those parents of those kids at the weddings.
Yeah.
Where it's like, whoa, we really are becoming that generation of people at the weddings, right?
I know.
Like where we're going to have high schoolers and then college. Like that's just kind of wild.
It is wild. Did you like my little joke I did with them?
Your little joke.
So we were sitting, there was like kind of a lounge area and we were sitting on a couch and there was like a little coffee table and then a couch opposite it.
I did.
And these 3 teenage girls came over and sat down and one of them was, kind of, as we discussed earlier, I don't know what the word is anymore, but gothed out.
Yeah.
In a very cool way. And they wanted nothing to do with us, clearly. Like when they sat down, I made like kind of a polite smile to them. Like there was a wall up.
Yeah.
Again, we were seen as these, you think of yourselves as younger, but they're high school kids. We're fucking old farts.
Yeah.
But there was what's that called? Disposable camera.
Yeah, disposable camera.
On the thing that we had used to take pictures.
Yes.
And one of them reached over to grab it. And I said, oh, that's ours. And they were like, oh. And then I was like, I'm just kidding. And I feel like, I hope it kind of opened up a line of energy between us.
I think it might have. It was kind of a dad joke.
Did you enjoy it or no?
Yeah, no, I thought it was pretty funny. I thought it was very cute that you did that.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Can we talk about the Ketubah and the lead up to it, which was kind of a humiliating moment for me?
Yes, I forgot about this. I'm sorry.
So the Ketubah is this document that at a Jewish wedding, the people getting married sign, and then there needs to be one witness that's not a part of the family from each side of the wedding party that signs it too. And I had the honor of getting to sign on Maddie's side, which is incredible. And it's just like a really cool like marriage agreement. And over the years they've taken on, now they can like look cool and all this stuff.
Yeah,
and
it looks like a piece of art that you can hang in your, I mean,
and
theirs is very cool.
Sarah's friend Ash made this beautiful thing, like so beautiful. So we see it and they're like, hey, this is Ash. She made this Ketubah. And it's like, oh my God, that's incredible. Ash is signing it on Sarah's side. So I'm already nervous. I'm like, okay, so the amazing artists that made this, they're going to sign it. They're going to have like a cool signature, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sweating my dumb signature. And then to make matters worse, it just so happened that my hands are so dry and gross looking, and I forgot to put lotion on. And you noticed maybe 5 minutes before the Ketubah signing, and you were like, oh my God.
You cannot have those fucking dried out, like, poor excuses for pause anywhere near this holy document.
Yes.
With an entire, I don't know, over 100 people looking on.
So I'm already nervous about how I'm going to sign it. Then I'm nervous about how my hands look when I'm signing it. And you're going around asking people if they have lotion. And then one of Maddie's friends was like, I have Vaseline. So I'm at a wedding.
It really helped.
Dousing Vaseline. But then I had greasy hands. And then I was so scared. Oh no, am I going to get Vaseline on this beautiful work of art?
Yeah.
I was very stressed out. And it's all my fault because I should have put lotion on my hands before.
Yeah.
But I think I did okay.
You did great.
Everyone else's signature
lovely.
looks so cool.
Well, weirdly, I feel like you and I aren't signing things a lot. Don't you feel like other people are signing their names more? I'm like, I rarely sign my name, only on kids' schoolwork stuff, or school stuff.
Yeah.
But I've often thought when I'm filling out their school stuff that the teachers are going to go, oh, Teddy's mom is a sociopath, because in one place she signs her name with like a rounded E. And then in another place she's doing a like square E. Like my handwriting changes as I go.
Well, my typical signature kind of looks like Amy, right? And so I wanted it to
represent you.
Yeah. So I did my best. I had this funny thought later in the night. We would go over to their house and it would be up on the wall and we would look at it and like my signature didn't quite look like how I remembered.
The tail of it's been whited out, like the artist came over.
Why do you keep mentioning the tail? Oh my God, was the tail that long?
No.
You mentioned it last night.
Well, there's just like a big swoop at the end. I'm only delighting in this because I know that
I wanted to do them proud.
I know. They're not giving a fucking second thought to your signature. In no world is anyone going, did you see Andy's signature?
Yeah.
But there was I didn't even look at it up close. I know you did a great job.
You just saw the swoop from afar, from 100 feet away. You saw it
from outer space. Anyway,
that was a fucking cool wedding.
Yes, it was great. Oh, before we switch gears, just wanted to remind everyone, in case you want to support the show and you have a few extra bucks to throw our way, you can do so at patreon.com/nobodieslisteninright. Our November bonus episode will be up on the 15th. Hope to see you there. Also, I really want to do a going into the holidays happy hour live stream, Andy.
Oh, that's fun.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah, we'll announce that soon. Okay, I can't find the exact stats, but in the last couple of weeks, I mentioned that I sit down to pee sometimes in the middle of the night. And someone, I can't remember if it was on Instagram or TikTok, check us out there at Nobody's Listening Right, had kind of just given me like a vow of support, which I thought was funny. Then in my news feed, something came up about men sitting peeing. And I was like, whoa, what's happening?
Yeah.
And so I just have like a snippet of this. I can't remember all of it, but it really varies country to country how many men sit to pee. The most popular country that men sit to pee.
Can I guess?
I would love for you to guess.
Denmark.
Ooh, that's pretty good. Germany.
Oh.
And they're called Sitzpinklers. Sitzpinkler.
Oh,
And
don't love that.
but it's something like I think it was over 50% of men sit to pee.
Every time.
Yeah, like
Interesting.
and so they asked one guy like, "Why do you think that happened?"
Oh, go ahead.
And he said, "I'm not exactly sure, but especially in Berlin, you can see many restaurants and bars with stickers in the restrooms requesting people to sit down. Someone started it, and then it somehow spread, and we became a country of Sitzpinklers, I guess."
Oh, I feel bad that that's the name because it sounds adorable.
It's a funny name.
But I'm sure in restrooms, if all men sat to pee, the world would be a cleaner place. But I also, I have mixed feelings about it. I wanted to ask you, how many people in Germany do you think stand up to wipe?
Their butt? I don't know, but it would feel great if it was a percentage of people.
Okay, let me ask you this. Do you stand up to wipe?
Not anymore.
Okay, good. But you did up until you were well into your mid to late teens.
I will tell you one thing, that this is going to give you the ick. And they did
well,
mention...
I've given you the ick so much today.
I remember in this article, they did say that women in general find men sitting, peeing, giving them the ick. It's not attractive.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of wiping, I need to do, when I stand up, if I sit to pee, I need to do like one little dab or I'll get pee that'll fall out. So I have to dab the pee area.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's like a plumbing tap problem I have, like the tap nut, or if everyone that sits to pee needs to do like a one quick, like, let's just make sure we're dry. But it's
different from when you're standing because you're doing this, like the shake, which I hate hearing also.
Yeah, but I have to stand up to, let's say I did the dry while I was sitting, then I stood up, the dry would be for naught. There's something about like gravity and everything that when I stand up, I need to do like a quick dab, or I would be going back into bed in the middle of the night with like a little like...
Okay, yeah, we get it.
Soggy underwear.
We get it. Can you tell the story, though, about when you learned that people wipe sitting down?
Of course. Yeah, of course.
I love this.
I thought you wiped your butt standing up until I was 16 or 17.
Now, I do want to point out you don't have much of a butt, because I think for people with this is super relevant. People with big butts,
yeah,
like mine, it's hard to wrap your head around this, because it's like, so do you stand and then bend over? Like, to really get clean in there, there has to be some bending happening. You can't just be standing up and fully get in there, because your cheeks are there's things blocking.
Oh, that's interesting.
Not that your anus is like outside of your butt, but like, you don't have big butt cheeks or anything.
Right. And what's interesting, we've definitely talked about this before in the past, and I do feel like I know I'm not completely alone. I mean, I'm almost tempted to make a clip of this to see if maybe I'm really not alone. You know what I mean? Because I know we've talked about it on this show or shows before, and there have been people, and God bless you, that have come out and be like, I stand to wipe occasionally. But it's pretty rare.
Have we talked about this?
Yeah, we've definitely talked about this.
Okay. You don't need to make a clip about this. I'm just saying. You don't. No need.
Okay.
But tell the story, sorry.
But yeah, no. But so I always just thought you stood up to wipe your butt. And then I was at my buddy Big Al's house, and I was in his bathroom, and the bathroom was built into like the roof, right? So it was slanted, and the toilet was at the slanting part. So you could not stand up fully at the toilet.
Without hitting your head.
Without hitting your head, but you could sit just fine. And I came out just all high and mighty like, how the hell do you wipe your ass in there? And Big Al and my friends are like, what are you talking about? I'm like, your head would hit the ceiling. How do you wipe your ass? And they're just dumbfounded, like, what are you talking about? And I was like, don't you stand up to wipe your ass? And all of them were like, no, dude.
Oh my God.
And it was life-changing. That was crazy.
Well, I think I would love to know if Matt ever learned that. I feel like this might be a 10 years later second kid situation. Because I'm like, that's part of potty training, is like teaching, to me, that's like another frontier in potty. I feel like that's something that,
Wiping while you're sitting,
yeah.
lifting a cheek up.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I delight in that story.
I went for years and years.
And like, thank God you used Big Al's bathroom. You could have gotten to college and beyond. I mean, what if someone out there is hearing this now as a...
That's what I'm saying. I think it's possible.
Oh.
And you know what? What is really the problem with it? You know? You think there's a problem?
I just think that given most butts, you're making it harder on yourself to get fully clean there.
Oh, you think it's a dirtier situation?
Yeah, that's what I was saying before. Do you not? I mean...
No, I did hear that, but
Okay.
I heard that under the umbrella of like for bigger butt people or something. I thought you were talking about
No, I think
specific butt.
even normal. I mean, you have a small butt.
So, but you think any butt you're not getting as clean if you stand up.
Yeah.
Unless like you're putting a leg up on the toilet or something. Which that would be give anybody the ick to walk into that on accident.
Oh my God.
Because yeah, there's a scenario where I don't have that experience at Big Al's house. Then fast forward to we're married a couple of years. We think we know each other really well. And you walk in and I got a foot up on the toilet wiping my butt. What do you do then? This
is almost like, I know I got us here. I don't, like, even that image is so off-putting that do we have any other nugget to move on to that we can?
Well, I think it's about time to wrap up, don't you? You don't feel good going out like that?
I don't. Not with a leg up.
Okay, I'll tell you one thing that I just thought was so cool that just really warmed my heart. I took our daughter to the barracks for that skate competition thing that I know I talked about last year when it happened because it really was so crazy. And again, this year I went. It was just the barracks is this really cool skate park warehouse in LA by a pro skater named Steve Barra. Anyways, it's like a legendary place. Took our daughter there again this year. And it was Women's Day, but also it was like adaptive skate day. So people that were in wheelchairs or maybe they were missing a limb.
Yeah.
It was so inspiring seeing these people skate. Then a blind guy comes in.
Oh.
And I'm like, it's so packed and crazy. And he starts skating and he has his pole. And I'm like so nervous because I'm like, people are going to bump into him and whatnot. But everyone was like so kind of aware and gracious. And then he literally started like going and attempting to do like nose slides where you jump up on like a curb.
Oh, wow.
And would with his pole is skating, feeling around. And then it's like, oh, there's a curb. I'm going to jump now. It was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. But anyways, it was just like so inspiring and just like the joy in that room that day. Anyways, I just wanted to share that. It was just so cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
It was really cool.
That feels like the right way to end.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes. We can all take inspiration from that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good night.
Good night.